Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in. I, of course, am Rotype, and I'm back here with MouseGunner in our Factorio series. Today, we're going to march a little bit closer to the train goal. Now, to that end, the first thing I'm going to do, don't mind these blinking things. They're just spacing out for the future. We'll talk about that in a couple episodes. I'm going to build track right about here, I think, is a good place to do some track. And track is pretty simple. It does take a little bit of time to build, and it's annoying to do it manually, so it's really great to just do on the bus. I don't know why that didn't copy paste properly. There we go. But it's pretty simple. Oops, I actually forgot the one other thing it needs is iron stick factory. And I should have done the math off camera, but it needs one iron stick every half second. And iron sticks are made, 2 of them every half second. Oh, perfect. So what we can do is just set it up. One machine emptying its iron sticks into these 2, just like that. That'll work wonderfully.
Now I see 3 ingredients. We also need steel plates, correct?
Right. So what I'm planning to do is we'll get rid of this one. Bring iron in on this side for the iron stick factory. And then over here, we can do a split belt of steel and stone.
Okay.
Now between
we have steel and
episodes,
stone right here. Yeah.
Yep. Between episodes, Mouse and I ran stone on the main bus here as well. The steel obviously was already there, but I knew we were going to need stone, so I went ahead and put that on the bus. Other thing, I'll go ahead and work on the iron because we need to iron down as well.
Now, do you want to explain this fancy thing that you did over here?
So this is my fancy thing that Mouse thinks is really ugly, but this is until I have priority splitting, which is a topic I'll cover many episodes down the road. But this is a convenient way I've found to split the steel off of the belt and kind of, I don't know, I think it looks decent, but you can hold your own heretical opinions if you want. But it basically, the reason there's this first splitter here is because eventually both of these belts will have steel on them. That's just the way we're planning to have, just like the iron will eventually be 4 belts wide, the steel will eventually be 2 belts wide. So kind of ignore this first one. The second one here just operates as a normal splitter, but you can see I put it on the kind of outside away from the direction that we need to send the stuff. And this, I don't know, just works as a nice kind of compact way to send steel down and leave you with, you can see we have, I don't have any more belt, but we have 2 belts of steel coming out and then a third one that just goes up the way we need it. And it doesn't interrupt any of these other lanes of things that are in the way. They just go right underneath and come back up and you're left with your 4 lanes of material at the other end. I think it looks good. You're, I don't know, a crazy person or something.
All right. Well, I will try and get the stone and the steel on the one belt, and you can work on the iron that you need.
Yep. Bring this down.
Well,
Try to remember to do the underground belts where they will be eventually.
Okay, I think that's the way I'm going to do it for now. Except that's not going to work, is it? I think the easier way to do this is not worry about this right this second. And do it from the lower end. As a matter of fact, I guess we don't really need this splitting at all. It's probably not efficient for the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really do anything when the one lane is backed up all the way, but yeah, eventually it won't even exist because we'll just be feeding it way back from the beginning. And there we go. Now I'll just go ahead and finish the inserters for all of these things.
Okay. I guess I'll do it your way.
I mean, feel free to come up with a better way.
No, that's not my job. My job is to just complain.
Well, nothing I can do about that.
That's not quite where I want it. think I'll bring this down so I know where I'm going.
Yeah, that is sometimes useful. That's why you'll see when I dragged this one down, I just dragged it and then went back and added the undergrounds. And this will all be powered like this. That and like that. Okay, I'm ready. How about you?
Didn't know it was a race.
Oh, it's always a race.
Anyway, I have 2 ingredients to work with.
Oh, fair enough. You get twice the time then. I'll go work on cleaning up the bus in the meantime, at least a little bit.
Oh, no. Nobody saw that. Shh.
But you can see how this game turns into an interesting, figure out the product. Like even the simplest of things, like, oh, get these 2 materials here. Well, how do you want to do that?
There we go.
Actually, we never finished getting green circuits to the electric engine unit factory. Go ahead and get that in as well. Which we don't really need for trains, but let's see. Oh, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a bunch of rail being made. And if I look, oh, why is it not picking up steel? Oh, interesting.
Oh.
We have an interesting thing happening here where the top factory is not working at all because it's backed up on rail because it can't output the rail fast enough. Interesting. I thought I had this nice fancy setup for producing 2 of these and putting them in a box, and little did I know it didn't work. So let's see, I'm just gonna go, actually. Nope, that's not gonna work either. That's what I just had. So the problem I'm having is I'm outputting at the rate of a blue inserter, and if I only have 1 box, I'm also only taking up at the rate of a blue inserter. There we go, that'll work. Just restrict this to that, and this actually doesn't even need to exist. We'll just do that. There we go. So now this box will just start accumulating rails. So the next thing is obviously to build a locomotive, which, we were talking about things you can build in your pocket. You can't build engines in your pocket, but you can build an entire locomotive in your pocket. Because, that makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
So what I like to do, and we haven't actually talked about filter inserters yet, and for some reason we are not making any. Oh, there was a mistake. I mean, there was no mistake. Everything works perfectly. This is missing. What are we missing? Inserters. What is this missing? There we go. We need another one there. You weren't here to complain that my stuff wasn't working, and now it's not working.
Well, that one I might not have known it wasn't working.
Well, I have 1 filter inserter, which is actually all I need, and I really hate carrying around filter inserters when I don't need them, so this will work. So if you come down to the end of the engine unit, we haven't talked about filter inserters yet, I don't think. So we can talk about those because it's the way I like to pull off engine units. I don't know. Oh, we went far away. All right, I'll just explain.
Well, I'm coming.
So we have this belt here with the engine units on the one side and the green circuits on the other, because I was talking about, I think it was last episode, that this is the most convenient way that I found to run everything you need for these electric engine units. Now, I want to put engine units in a box because I want to be able to pick them up when I need to. So I put down this purple inserter, and if you click on it, you can tell well, first of all, you can see it's not doing anything right now. It has power. It's just sitting there. You you click on it, you can add a filter and tell it exactly what you want to pick up. So I just want it to pick up engine units, and it's just going to leave those green circuits there. Well, now it's not. Jerk. But yeah, you get the idea. It'll just pick up exactly what you tell it to. Now, I, as I said, only normally do engine units because that's all I care about in this section. We have green circuits being added to boxes elsewhere. And this will help us because things like locomotives need engine units, and every once in a while you need to make one, you just come grab it and not have to worry about grabbing a bunch of green circuits when you don't want them. So I have a bunch of rail, I have an engine unit. The next thing I need to make are cargo wagons because, well, actually, so the train's not going to go here, but I'll just put it here to show you what it looks like. So this is a train. Obviously you can't carry anything around with the train, so you need cargo wagons to do that. I'm gonna make one in my pocket to show you what it looks like. And as it's done, make some gears first. There we go. So you just attach these cargo wagons to the back. They conveniently are made with the same set of materials that we did in our kind of Omni area up here, all these other like random things. So I'm just going to add them right to the end of this. I'm going to say, make me cargo wagons. They need, let's see what all they need. Iron plate, iron gear wheel. So iron plate here, iron gear wheel here, and steel. There we go. Run these down, give them power. No, don't have a convenient place to give them power. There we go. So now we'll have, once I give them an output, cargo wagons being made automatically. Now, some say this is a little overkill because you don't really need a ton of cargo wagons, but I'm of the philosophy that anything I want to build, I want it made for me. I don't want to have to do it. So now I'll have cargo wagons. I'll just grab a few and pick this up, and we can head back to where the train will be permanently. And we can talk a little bit more about trains. Now, my car is gone, so I'm going to have to hoof it, and that sucks.
Yeah, I saw your car. It's back midway down the bus.
Yep. I get in the habit of, yeah, don't, don't run things over. I don't know if we talked about this on camera or not, but you can easily destroy large portions of your base if you run into things with the car.
So where is the train going? Is it going by where the ore is going to be, or?
Yeah, so obviously it's personal preference, but my pretty much major use of the train is to deliver raw ores to the beginning of the bus to be smelted in our existing smelting area. So I generally build like a big depot near our smelting and just send a bunch of ores from all different across the map back to the smelting area. So I'm now headed to the smelting area to build that depot, or at least the very beginnings of it. Okay, so might actually take a little bit of planning. So I'll just look at the map here and think about how I want to lay things out. I think to give myself some space, I'm going to go ahead and do it down below the stone here. And of course I didn't build any of the other things I need, but should be able to pocket build most of them. So let's talk about how to lay rail. You just like off on your own thing, or do you want to learn how to lay rail?
I'm getting resources. All right, I'll be right there.
Okay. So rail laying is actually pretty simple, but we were talking about this off camera. It's one of the only things, actually I think it is the only thing in this game that uses the kind of, I guess, like spline creation method, similar to like a city builder when you're building roads and stuff. I'll just lay out a basic layout, and when you get here, I'll explain.
Oh, you're over there.
Oh yeah, do you think I was talking about that other stone? Yeah,
all right.
We'll get over there eventually. Right now, this is like the drop off point that I'm building first for all of our materials.
Gotcha. Oh, shh, nobody saw that.
As long as you repair it. Eventually, we'll have robots, and you can just drive willy-nilly through the base, destroying things, and the robots will just come fix them. Until then, you have to be a little careful. Okay, so you can see I have just some some tracks laid out. Do you have some track? You want to try it and make sure I'm explaining this properly?
I don't have any.
I think I can drop some onto your inventory. Hold still. Doing anything? No. It's oh, there we go.
Yeah, you gave it to me.
Good. So if you click the belt or your hotkey or whatever to open it, you'll see you just have one little square. Now, if you put that just anywhere, it just plops one. You just have one. Now, if you hover over it again with the rail selected, you'll get little green arrows. You see the green arrows?
Oh, I see it.
Now, if you click a green arrow, you can then release your mouse button and you'll have this green segment of track that you can kind of like wave around in any direction. Do you see that? So that is your like track builder, and so you can design it, you can kind of drag it, or I guess you're not really dragging because you're not holding down the button, but you're just kind of like, putting it out wherever, and you can just draw, whatever shapes you want. If you happen to be lined up, it will merge things in with junctions. You don't have to do anything special about junctions. You do have to kind of, try and make sure you're lined up the right way, but let's see. So down here on the bottom, I'm going to try and connect this in with this circle. So I'm just going to click it in, and it just did it. So that junction is being made. So if a train is on here, it can access all of these, and I didn't do anything special to do that. I just dragged the track onto it and then dragged it off again in another direction. So that's pretty simple to do. The only other thing I think I should mention, so you can start that from pretty much any track existing. You'll get the green arrows. You just click the green arrow, and you'll get the tool. You can just make new junctions from anywhere. You just grab it and do it. Pretty simple tool. The other thing I'll mention at this point is if you have the green arrow and you hold shift and click the green arrow, you'll get like an infinitely long thing. It won't be shortened by your build radius, or I guess I should say your default build radius, because we have a modded build radius. So you'll be able to draw it out really, really far. So the only other thing I'll mention, I think, is that when you're dragging it around, you can push the R key to your normal rotate key, and that will shift the orientation of that last piece of track that you're building. So if you want a piece of track to be in a certain direction at a certain point, you can kind of just go to that point and push R until it aligns the way you want it to, and it will auto, I guess, calculate the way to get there, to route the track in between your starting and ending point to make that happen. And
okay,
then,
so you're going to have to re-explain something to me because I lost it. How do I get a junction going?
So if let's say I'm going to go down here to where we don't have this big mess. So let's come down here, and we have this big long stretch of track, this straight track. Let's just say it's almost like a bus, right? You have this big long bus, and I want to split off. I have my track. You have the track highlighted. You just grab the green arrow and then just drag it off.
Now, how do I add, if I wanted to come over here to this and connect from this line here up to here, how would I do that?
So this is where you have to be a little careful. You can take the green arrow from either end, and we're luckily enough, like at this diagonal is at the perfect way. So if it just continued straight, it would connect. But let's just say you're trying to connect something like over here, this one. So you grab your track. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. You grab the green arrow, and if you draw it straight, it doesn't connect, right? So you can't really do it. Like, these are so close together that the curvature of the track doesn't allow you to do an S-bend that tight. So you kind of have to know how the track bends, how close you can do it for it to actually function. So it's not necessarily like a click start, click end, because sometimes
I'm sorry, is there a reason to do a switchover or anything like that?
So we'll probably talk about that in the next few episodes, but there are certain track layout plans that different people subscribe to. And yeah, there are definitely, some of them involve crossovers. Some of them don't involve any crossovers at all. we haven't even talked about signals yet. So obviously if you have a crossover, you have to make sure your trains don't crash into each other on the crossovers. And some people don't like signals. They find them confusing, which they can be. So they prefer to build tracks without any crossovers, which in some people's eyes are inefficient or just the wrong way to do them. It's all personal preference. But long story short, yes, sometimes you will get crossovers and you have to make sure you, number one, to build them properly so the train works. And number two, signal them so your automatic trains don't crash into each other.
All right. Well, it looks like we're at the end of an episode.
Okay, so yeah, the next one we'll definitely talk more about trains. I'll lay out some, like those demo layouts that I was talking about that make a little more sense, and we'll get into signaling and stuff. But until then, my name's been Rotype. He's been MouseGunner. I hope you all have enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.